would you take a moment and share what you've done well in this role so far?
Yes, thank you. So let me look at what was the duty and responsibility. So pay attention to the operation of the circle, agreement, objective, work progression, next action. So to start with this, I think I did that well. I took the agreement, I put them in the right place. Every week we took time. Jordan was helping me to update what we call our objective key results. So we did that well on a consistent basis. We review what we had in our backlog for policy meetings, and we prioritize and we inform people in advance. We improve as we were going forward, so we could make the agenda in advance, so people had a couple of days to do it. I follow up on people on their action for the work progression. So that was done well. Keep track of who's responsible of that, of what. That's a similar thing. Make sure that the plans are adequate. An example of that, precise example of that, was when we find out that we had a mix of agreement developed related to developing capacity. We realized that, and we're now making merging of that. So that was an occasion where I noticed that the plan were not adequate, and I brought it to the group, and the group was able to act on it. Thanks to Catherine and Jordan to have taken this aspect, and bring the attention to the group if something seems to be clear. I think that has been done too, particularly through the one-on-ones. Pay attention to the circle member, harvest and distribute information to the one-on-one. We've been steady on the one-on-one. I've met mostly everyone every week. Member circle, when it's parent circle, that's not applicable. We have only one circle currently. As a member, yeah, so I think that if I look at that, I did put 10 hours or more onto this work. The requirements are still met, not a problem. These are characteristic. I definitely has a long-term interest in our project. Ask, tact, be helpful, respectful. I think I did well on that. And I want to do the role. So that's what I have for doing well.
Beautiful, thank you. And thanks for the detail and for tying all of those things to the role description. You can take a moment to just take that in, and the feedback team can connect with what you feel Louis has done well. Anything you'd like to add? So let's go ahead and get started with Catherine. Would you like to start us off?
Yeah, I agree with everything you said, Louis. And I'd also like to add that I can really attest to all the preparation that you do throughout the week in advance of our meetings. I just really want to highlight that, where very rarely do we come to a meeting and we don't have everything already prepared for us. So I think that adds to the efficiency of our meetings and to the amount of things that we're able to get done.
Great, thank you. Seeing agreement there. Ezgi, is there anything you'd like to add?
I agree with everything that has been said so far. And I would add that there's also inspiration. Louis is very inspirational and determined, even when we tiny bit, we don't even have a chance to, not be determined and work on the task because of, I think, his energy and the determination and inspiration he brings. And there's also a lot of gratitude we feel from Louis. He never misses anything to be thankful and express his thankfulness. And I think it adds to the group's harmony together. And also, final thing, when we might be a little bit late on our tasks, he gently pokes us and gets us back on track. So I appreciate that as well.
Great, thank you. Jordan, how about you?
Well, okay, going beyond what Louis has said already, I agree with everything that he said there. There's a couple of things that I've found very helpful for me that Louis brought to the table. One is that he is dramatically more organized than I am, and he's helped me become a lot better at that. So I appreciate his commitment to organization. He's very empathetic when other people are going through, difficult moments related to either the organization or other things outside of the organization. And that builds a lot of trust and lifeline. Very patient. Dealing with us cats isn't always difficult, and
It's not always difficult. Sometimes it's nice.
Sometimes it's fun, I know. He also has two things that I find very important for taking on this role that I don't know if we've included in the description, but I think it's something. But he's got a strong focus on his own health, which makes his energy levels and his kind of resilience when we meet tension very strong. So we've pushed through a lot of issues when other people's energies are waning. Louis is usually there full steam ahead. So those are all, positive things he's bringing to this role.
Wonderful. Thank you, Jordan. Thank you all for articulating these dimensions so clearly with so many examples. Louis, do you want to take a moment, and if you need to kind of organize your thoughts, that's fine, just to summarize what you're hearing and what you've done well in this role so far?
Yeah, so I can make a bit of a resume. So I did well what was described on the duty and responsibility of the role. In addition, the party or team, the Herding Cat Collective, I say that I've done well the preparation of the meeting ahead of time, so we could be effective. I contributed to improve the meeting along the way, so we had that's maybe a personal addition. So we got to have better defined problem and better use of our time. I've been thankful in recognizing the contribution of everyone as it was showing, and it was helpful. I demonstrated determination. By the way, I feel a little bit like Frodo throwing the ring in the volcano here. I did that well, and I did that. So
it's okay. That's what this is for.
So, Jordan said that was organized and it was helpful for him. So I'm really glad to hear that. That was a desire for me a couple of years ago, and it's starting to show. Same thing with energy and health. It was not, now that he's pointing out, I'm touched that it's working. It was difficult for a long time for me, and now I see that indeed it is in place. And I think one or two people have mentioned patience, and that it was helpful when we were less than perfect on something.
Great. Sounds like a complete recap. And I'll just acknowledge that I'm touched and I feel a lot of warmth as I hear these stories and examples and all of this. So let's go ahead and look for opportunities for improvement and growth. Actually, before we do that, let's do our round. Does the team consent that the summary that Louis just gave seems complete? Ezgi, do you consent? Anything missing?
I hear inspiration, that you are very inspirational and you show a lot of gratitude.
Great. Thank you for reminding us. Jordan?
No objection.
All right. Catherine? All right. Okay, great. Cool. Okay. Great. So let's move on to the next phase and give Louis an opportunity to share what he sees as places where he may need improvement, opportunities for growth.
Thank you, Mitra. So I'll go back to our requirement for the role. I'll take a look at that. Okay, pay attention for the to the operation of the circle: agreement, objective, work progression, next action. Okay, so what do we have to that? So I think there is, as an operational leader, I think I can improve on, it's about a continuity of improving how our agreements are being kept and following, maybe continuing to improve, because it was a bit of a mess in terms of our agreement on developing capacity. So it could be said that it is something to improve, that we don't produce further mess, and we don't duplicate agreements, and we keep everything together. So I can pay attention to that aspect of things on behalf of the group. Work progression and next action. So we're working with objective key results. So there is another thing I see, that right now Jordan and I are making the agenda, and we're not as transparent as we could be. I want to describe what needs improvement. Okay, so we could be more transparent, more helpful in saying, this is what we had on the table, this is what we choose. You're welcome to come give us feedback. That would be one way to do that. Keep track of who's responsible of what. Make sure the plans are adequate. It's pretty good. Still going in the same direction of improving. I think our group is gaining maturity and movement, and that's awesome. And pay attention to circle member, harvest, distribute information. I think I've done that okay. That's awesome. So in general, I think there's something about, as operation leader, there's something about holding the energy of the group somehow, like that it's helpful if I'm really in connection with our larger goal. I think stability on how I see our vision and mission could be improved. For example, I was sometime feeling down or sad. And it took me like a while to come back, and I wish to be a bit more in connection with where we're going.
Okay, thank you for that. Are you complete, Louis?
Yes, I'm complete.
Okay, great. So let's take a moment to take that in and connect with anything that the feedback team sees as opportunities for Louis to improve. Let's see. Jordan, would you like to start?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Great. Okay. So just two things that are sort of being dealt with, we already know, but one thing is we've made this shift. I'm hearing myself echo so hard.
Yeah, Jordan, there's a bit of an echo. Yeah.
So hard right now. Is this better?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Definitely.
Great. Okay, so always. Okay. Louis has a tendency, just as the group wants them to, and that can be very demoralizing at times.
I'm sorry, it cut out for a brief moment when you were talking. Could you say that one more time?
Yeah, no problem. So Louis often has a belief that everything is going to take about 20% longer than the group wants it to, and that can be a bit demoralizing. I would recommend maybe we just add more flex time and pretend to ourselves that things aren't going to take quite as long, and then to take that flex time up, because you're probably right, but it can be demoralizing. We were getting a little. what is going on? Just
it got internet got a little glitchy there. Let's see.
Okay, let's try. Going back to Echo Mic here. So the last thing is that we were getting a little sloppy using proposals in their fullest sense, but in the last month, we got a point to start taking them on completely, every one of them, and that has helped a lot of things. And I know Louis knows that he's going to be pushing us to do that all the time now.
What was that again?
About us using the full proposals.
Okay, full proposal.
Instead of the shortened version.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
Okay, great. Anything else, Jordan, or?
I'm going to save everyone's ears.
All right. Catherine, anything you'd like to share about areas you see for Louis to grow in this role?
Yeah, this isn't directly connected to any of the requirements for the role, so I'd like you to take it with a grain of salt, Louis. But I do notice that in meetings, you like to write your notes on paper. And I also noticed that, like, sometimes in a meeting, there are lots of different sheets of paper that get used. And I'm someone that likes to conserve paper whenever possible. So it does sometimes distract me in meetings to see like all the paper that's being used. We all have our own note-taking styles, but if there was one thing I would ask to improve, it would be to conserve paper more during meetings.
Thank you. So I'm hearing this as even possibly something that you may want to consider building into the role description, or sort of at the values or mission level. But thank you for sharing that. Anything else, Catherine?
That's it for now.
Okay. Ezgi, how about you?
One more thing to add. Sometimes it can feel like there's lots of things moving together, but we don't always get to them. So maybe there is a discrepancy between capacity and will. So I think it would serve us better if we are more focused on one thing or two things as priorities, and don't keep like, how about this? How about that? But like stay there. I think that would be more effective for our group.
So I'll ask to precise here.
Mm-hmm. For example, we decided to like do the book club, do the what was that? The legal agreements. There are so many different parts that we plan to do in the capacity development, for example. But like a lot of those couldn't work out. Does that make it more clear for like giving an example around it?
Yeah, and I suspect also that it could have something to do like doing an initiative of helping David with his co-housing community. Is that something that goes into the mix, or is that something different?
Not really. That's your own focus, maybe. Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. Thanks, Ezgi, and thanks for that clarification. So Louis, do you want to take a moment and kind of recap for us what you're hearing in terms of areas of improvement in your role?
Yes, I'd like that. Thank you, Mitra.
Yeah.
So I'm going to help the group to keep the agreement not a mess, concentrating on working on the same agreement when possible. I'm going to, so that's where I could do better. Another thing I could do better is to not discourage the group by saying we have time for only one or two items in a meeting. And so something about paying attention on behaving in a way that is encouraging for the group or objective for the meetings. That I'm going to encourage the group toward using more full proposals instead of doing it like in the past that we've done. So that's that's something we can continue to improve. I could have. There's something about conservation of paper and how we behave in meetings, and keeping a tight focus on or how much piece we get moving outside of meetings.
Great, thanks for summarizing that. And hearing that summary, let's do a round to just kind of scan. Does that summary that Louis just gave seem complete to the team here? Catherine?
Yeah, I think one point that you mentioned, oh, sorry, it does not seem complete.
Does not seem complete, okay. Hang on to what you want to add. Ezgi, how about you? Complete. And Jordan?
Incomplete.
Incomplete, okay. So Catherine, can you tell us what you'd like to add?
Yeah, I think the point that you mentioned, Louis, about not discouraging the group by sticking to 1 or 2 points, I think what was actually meant was that maybe we do only have time for that much, but maybe not like overshooting how much time that we may need for it, like putting more time like maybe as a buffer, but like not planning to use that much time for each task. And that's it for me.
Thanks. And Jordan, can you share what was missing for you in the summary?
Same thing as Catherine.
Okay.
Yeah, just to elaborate, it's more that there's certain times where Louis will be like, that's going to take us 3 hours. And everyone's like, I don't have 3 hours today. So if you told us it would be an hour and we worked for an hour and a half, we'd probably be a lot more positive.
Okay, let's do a quick final round of consenting to the completeness of this feedback. Can we do, let's see, Ezgi? Oh, you already said you were complete. Jordan, with that, are you complete? And Catherine? Okay, great. Cool, so having looked over those areas for potential improvement, now it's time to give Louis a chance to create like a concrete plan with specific details about what he wants to implement moving forward to continue to do what's going great and also areas, address these ideas for improvement. Do you need a minute or two, Louis, to put that plan together?
I think I'm good. Actually, I can go ahead.
Okay.
So
great.
My plan of improvement is to continue what I'm doing well and continue to enjoy the dessert that Catherine, the second dessert that Catherine is preparing. Okay, preparation will continue to be done ahead of time. We are continuing to. I'm going to continue to encourage the group to get clear agenda item, continue to be thankful, continue to show determination, being organized and patient, and continue to put attention on my own health and energy, and maybe encourage the other in a gentle way. So we all show up with high level of energy. So this is the things I did well, but I will continue to plan. The aspect I will improve is I think I'm going to have a couple of conversations during the one-on-one about what it means to use the being encouraging during in terms of how much time it will take to talk about something, because I need to understand more what it is. I like to undersell and over-deliver, and I think it has an advantage in our group when we've seen that we have more time, and at the same time, I think there's something interesting there to improve. So I'd like to tackle that with them, and it will be done during the one-on-one. Action. Continue with full proposal. I'll review this role improvement feedback a couple of times, and remember where I want to put my attention. And it might be to say, are we doing proposal as much as we want right now? Conserve paper. I'm going to pay attention to it right now. It's kind of difficult to change habits when it's in motion. Maybe a second computer could be something that could work. We may have one kicking around, so that I could use for that. So thank you, and thank you, Catherine, for bringing our attention to that aspect. That's really part of our value and the way we want to act on the micro level. Keep tight focus on the activity. That's one that is really important for me. So I think to the one-on-one, again, I'm going to direct my attention toward saying, is our focus adequate right now? At the end of the quarter, we're going to renegotiate our agreements and course correct. So that's it for me.
Great, thanks for that detailed plan. Let's take a moment and give your feedback team, which is also your circle, a chance to consent to the plan. So we'll do a round and you can say consent or object to the plan that Louis just framed. Ezgi.
I consent.
Consent. And Catherine? Consent. And Jordan?
Consent.
Okay, great. Well, that brings us to the end of this gathering. Thank you so much, Louis, for your openness and for translating all of this feedback into specific action steps. And thank you, everyone, for being so forthcoming and candid. Sounds like an amazing community you have there. So with that,
thank you all so much.
Celebrate. Yay.